Welcome back to the Elden Ring Boss Cheese series. Today I'll be explaining in detail how you can cheese the fire giant at any level in the game after the initial patch. A lot of guides out there give brief explanations but don't really explain how to pull it off efficiently. I hope that after this video you'll be able to nail the tricky parts first try every time. If you don't want to actually cheese this guy, I'll have a guide on how you can kill the giant properly and easily towards the end. Let's get into it. Right before we get started, I want to shout out Aoa.com who have generously sponsored the channel. If you don't want to grind for the runes or weapons legitimately, Aoa is a trusted and recommended site that can provide you with just about anything in the game. I've used it myself and I recommend it. Use code Idicus for 3% off. Alright, so we're going to start off today at the site of grace right outside the fire giant boss room. Now the key here is to get outside the boss room where he can no longer reach you and fight him at range. If you've seen these guides that use the horse jump method, we will be doing the exact same thing, but I can show you a way to pull it off flawlessly every single time. So here is the fire giant boss arena. You'll notice that there is a door on the left and a door up here on the right. Don't get these confused, the one on the right is a smaller triangle and we want to be avoiding that door for the most part. Head on over to the left door to get started. Now when you enter, you want to jump on your horse and head right around to the side. Now this is where you can make the jump out of the arena. Now this jump is hard, or it seems to be for most people, but not for me. This here is what the barrier looks like. It sticks out and curves around a little. The problem is people jump into it on the wrong angle and plummet to their death. To guarantee that you get around it perfectly, you want to come to the left and line up this rock here with the end of the chain, exactly like it is on screen. Now you just sprint straight forward and jump. As you begin to fall, you will have successfully cleared the barrier and you can double jump to the right to land safely on the ledge. The key here is to take your time. The giant won't hit you and you have ages until he gets close enough to do that. Practice it a couple times and line it up just like I showed you and you'll nail it 100% of the time, I guarantee it. Alright, now you're out of the arena. Awesome job. The key now is to get an advantageous position and pick this guy off from range. You remember that other door up on the cliff? That's where you need to go. Sprint past the side of grace and up the hill. You'll come to this area. Now this is where the giant will sit, and here is where you want to sit. You're now able to pick him off with whatever ranged magic or weapons you have available to you. Right now I'm making use of Loretta's mastery spell because of its amazing range. Now if you've gotten up to Millennia, then you will likely have this spell, and if you have not, you could just use Loretta's great bow spell, which you get after defeating her in Caria Manor. Now just sit here and rinse and repeat. Be very careful of the snow sweep, you can roll through it. My tip to do that is to always roll earlier than you think. Now the reason this rock formation I mentioned earlier is so important is because later in the fight the giant will resort to throwing fireballs at you, and if you stand behind this rock you are still able to fire at him with your own projectiles and you are protected from those fireballs. Now the slow fireballs he shoots at you, you will need to get close to, and when they pulse just simply dodge away to detonate them and avoid the explosion. Now just keep this process up until you get him to his second phase. Once the cinematic is over, you will spawn back in the arena. Simply hop on your horse and head for the same gate, which is now the one on the right. Come to the same jumping spot and just line it up again. Now you also have time to breathe and really get it right, and as soon as you are over, it becomes the exact same process. If the giant has wedged himself in the doorway, just run along the cliff and he will follow you out. You then want to retreat back to your rock and just finish him off. Just be wary of those fireballs as they will definitely one-shot you if you don't have high health. Congratulations, you beat the fire giant. Now for those that don't want to do the cheese, here is the other method. If you want to beat this guy without a fuss, I highly recommend Scarlet Rot Breath and a bleed weapon. The best bleed weapons I'd recommend, in my opinion, are the Winged Scythe, Rivers of Blood, or Margit's Cursed Sword. You should have access to all all 3 of these before you get close to the fire giant. Now grab one of those and your Scarlet Rot Breath, plus a good summon or a mimic, and head towards the giant. When you start the encounter, you can dodge the snow sweep and jump back on your horse. Summon that mimic and try your best to get off a Scarlet Rot Breath. You can do it on foot or on horseback. Now once he is successfully infected, go for the blood attacks. I think in the gameplay on screen he only hit me once, so it's definitely not impossible. Now the best part about this is the mimic will also use Rot Breath and bleed damage. If you don't have the mimic, any other summon should do the trick, but I do highly recommend it, as both of these will stack with yours, which will equal some insane damage. Keep an eye on his foot. The giant times a lot of his attacks with his foot hitting the ground, so you can time your dodges that way without actually having to look at his plate. Now when he rolls away, just jump straight on your horse and chase him so you can get really close before he has a chance to hit you. And the same thing goes for the second phase, just get off that breath and then hit him with the bleed. You should have him down in no time. And that's about everything I can offer you guys. Surely with all the tips and tricks, you'll be able to finally beat the bugger and you can end your suffering. Like the video if it helped, sub for more content like this, and join the Discord if that interests you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. Take care. Peace.